A story by mythic narrative, the unsolved mysterious of Crescent Lake. I'll never forget the day I stumbled upon the unsolved case of Crescent Lake. It was a rainy afternoon, and as an investigative journalist, I was drawn to the enigmatic aura surrounding the lake and the eerie stories that swirled around its dark waters. Little did I know that this journey would lead me down a chilling path of terror and unanswered questions. My fascination with Crescent Lake began when I received a letter from an anonymous source, simply signed, "A Watchful Observer." The letter contained an old newspaper clipping about a series of bizarre disappearances that had occurred near the lake decades ago. It spoke of 6 people who vanished without a trace, leaving behind only fear and confusion among the residents of the nearby town. Intrigued by the mystery, I packed my bags and set out for the small town of Willowbrook, the last known location of those who had disappeared. I quickly learned that the townspeople were reluctant to speak about Crescent Lake and its dark history. They seemed to be hiding something, and the fear in their eyes was palpable. Determined to uncover the truth, I began interviewing the locals discreetly. One name kept coming up in every conversation: the Lady of the Lake. According to local folklore, the lady was a vengeful spirit who haunted the waters of Crescent Lake, luring unsuspecting victims to their demise. Some believed she was a woman who had drowned in the lake centuries ago, while others claimed she was the embodiment of a long-forgotten curse. As I delved deeper into the history of Crescent Lake, I discovered an old, weathered diary tucked away in the archives of the town's library. The diary belonged to a woman named Eleanor Hawthorne, who lived in Willowbrook during the time of the disappearances. Her words painted a haunting picture of the events that unfolded decades ago. Eleanor wrote of a quaint and picturesque town, where everyone knew each other and doors were left unlocked. She spoke of joyous gatherings near the lake, where families would come together to celebrate life. But that all changed when the disappearances began. The first person to vanish was a young boy named Timothy. His mother, Mrs. Jenkins, reported that he had gone to play by the lake and never returned. The entire town searched frantically for him, but there was no sign of the boy. Days turned into weeks, and soon, 4 more people vanished without a trace. The town was gripped with fear and paranoia. The once close-knit community became divided, with some blaming the Lady of the Lake for the tragedies, while others insisted it was the work of a human predator. Eleanor's diary entries grew more and more frantic as the disappearances continued. She wrote about strange shadows moving in the moonlight and an eerie, mournful song that echoed across the lake at night. She described chilling encounters with a pale figure standing at the edge of the water, its eyes reflecting the moon's glow. One night, as I sat in my rented cabin reading Eleanor's diary, I heard a faint tapping on the window. Startled, I glanced outside and caught a glimpse of a figure disappearing into the misty darkness. My heart pounded in my chest as I realized I might not be alone in my quest to solve the mystery of Crescent Lake. The next day, I decided to venture to the lake's edge, hoping to find any clues that might shed light on the disappearances. The water was calm, and the air was heavy with an oppressive silence. As I gazed out across the lake, a shiver ran down my spine, and I couldn't shake the feeling of being watched. Suddenly, a chilling voice whispered in my ear, "Leave this place or suffer the same fate as those who came before you." I turned around but saw no one. The voice seemed to echo from the depths of the lake itself. Determined to press on, I continued my investigation, but each step seemed to lead me deeper into darkness. The townspeople became increasingly hostile, warning me to leave Willowbrook before it was too late. But I couldn't abandon the truth, and my obsession with Crescent Lake had become an unrelenting force. Late one night, as I pored over old records in the town's archives, I found a peculiar journal entry from a local historian. It spoke of a secret society that once existed in Willowbrook, rumored to dabble in dark magic and sacrificial rituals. They worshipped the Lady of the Lake, believing that she bestowed power and prosperity upon them in exchange for human offerings. I couldn't believe what I was reading. The disappearances were not random acts, but part of a sinister plan orchestrated by a group of individuals who had long evaded justice. I had stumbled upon something far more terrifying than I could have imagined. Armed with this new knowledge, I knew I had to act quickly. I sought out the help of a sympathetic local who was willing to divulge more information about the secret society. Together, we uncovered a hidden tunnel leading to a secluded island in the center of Crescent Lake. As we cautiously made our way through the dark passageway, the chilling whispers grew louder, warning us to turn back. But we were resolute in our mission to expose the truth and put an end to the horrors that had plagued this town for far too long. Upon reaching the island, we discovered an ancient stone altar and a series of eerie symbols etched into the ground. It was clear that dark rituals had taken place here, and the Lady of the Lake was at the center of it all. Before we could fully comprehend the gravity of our discovery, a figure emerged from the shadows. It was the same pale figure I had seen by the lake, and it carried an aura of malevolence that sent chills down my spine. "You should not have come here," the figure hissed, its eyes ablaze with an otherworldly light. "The lady demands her sacrifices, and you will not escape her wrath." We stood our ground, knowing that we were treading on dangerous ground. As the figure lunged towards us, a blinding flash of light erupted from the altar, engulfing the island in an ethereal glow. It was as if the very lake itself had come to life, seeking to protect its secrets. In that moment, I knew I had come face to face with the Lady of the Lake. The ancient spirit that had haunted this place for centuries was real, and she was not to be trifled with. With a burst of energy, we managed to escape the island and make our way back to the safety of the town. We knew that we had disrupted a malevolent force, and the consequences would be severe. As the days passed, I received a letter from the anonymous source who had set me on this perilous journey. It contained a single line: "Beware the wrath of the Lady of the Lake." I knew then that my investigation had drawn the attention of forces beyond my understanding, and I could never escape the haunting grasp of Crescent Lake. To this day, the mystery remains unsolved. The disappearances of Crescent Lake remain an enigma, shrouded in darkness and terror. The secret society that orchestrated these horrors remains hidden, and the Lady of the Lake continues to haunt the depths of that dark water, forever seeking her sacrifices. As I write this account, I can't help but wonder if I, too, will become another chapter in the terrifying legend of Crescent Lake. The answers I sought led me to the brink of madness, and I fear that the darkness that lurks within those waters will forever haunt my dreams. In the end, perhaps some mysteries are better left unsolved, and some secrets are best kept buried in the depths of the unknown. For those who dare to seek the truth of Crescent Lake, be warned. It is a journey that may lead you to the edge of your sanity and test the very limits of your soul.